American Express is set to release the brand new version of their flagship card, the American Express Platinum Card, in just a few short hours. It is currently the evening of Wednesday, September 17th, 2025, and the new card is set to release on September 18th, 2025. So theoretically, they're going to be releasing it in just a couple hours at midnight. So very, very exciting. But in the meantime, while all this is happening, they're getting ready to make this big announcement. Chase is currently panicking. Chase just came back and announced a couple changes up to the Sapphire Reserve, which actually released, I believe, on June 23rd. So just a few months ago, they did this big refresh to their flagship card, the Sapphire Reserve, and it hasn't gone as well as they thought it would go. I don't think they're getting the signups that they thought they would. People are most likely canceling their cards, and they are kind of the move that I'm about to talk about here in just a second. It's a complete panic move. So they announced a couple changes to the benefits. They just came out with these benefits a few short months ago. This is something that's been in the planning for them most likely for a few years. Their brand new announcement, their most important product on their credit card side, and they change and flip-flop and change some of the key benefits shortly after release. That they are feeling the pressure from American Express. They're feeling the pressure from other premium credit cards in the space. Maybe the Citi Strata Elite release. Capital One Venture X is looming in the background once they complete their merger with Discover. I'm sure they're going to announce an update to the Venture X. There's a lot of moving parts in the premium travel credit card space, and it's kind of fun to watch. So I'm going to jump in right now. We're going to go through all the details. Let's go. All right, so to give you some context on where this all started a few months ago. This little feud, I don't know if you want to call it that, this little back and forth between Chase and American Express trying to one-up each other, started a few months ago back in June. So Chase was set to release the details of their new Sapphire Reserve card on June 17th, with the card coming out and being available for new applications on June 23rd. As you can see, the title of this article, American Express made a press release on June 16th, 2025, which is the day before the big announcement was coming from Chase. So clearly this was an effort by American Express to kind of preempt Chase, steal some of the spotlight, and kind of remind them that they're still the little brother of this travel credit card space. So to summarize the message of this press release, American Express was essentially saying like, hey, don't worry, we're going to be updating our American Express Platinum card and our Business Platinum card, which are the direct competitors to the Sapphire Reserve cards. They said, hey, we're gonna be making major updates to our Platinum card later this year in the fall. Don't you worry, this is all coming. We've got new lounges coming in Tokyo and in Newark, and we've got a huge investment coming to the card. Don't worry, we're still the big dogs in this space. And it was just so funny to see this announcement come the day before. It's kind of petty, but at the same time, I kind of love it. Just like the competition here. So, and I'll say this multiple times throughout: competition is good for the consumer. So when these credit card companies are fighting with each other, trying to one up each other, and overtake the other company's news, that's good for us. So this is a good thing. It's fun to watch the drama and the back and forth, but we need to realize like, hey, competition is good. If there's no competition, there's a monopoly, and we're all just getting 1x and getting 0.5x on all of our purchases. So competition is great. So, all right. So back to the story. So that was the first kind of piece of this. So that happens on June 16th. American Express makes this press release saying, hey, we're still here. Chase comes out and releases their card on June 23rd as expected. And like I said at the beginning of the video, it's September 17th right now. So it's been a few months, and the reaction hasn't been great. I know there are some people that are going to come up and fire up in my comments and say the Sapphire Reserve is great. It blows the Platinum card out of the water even with the new details that are coming tomorrow. Whatever. Like there's always going to be those little fanboys trying to get their message in, but overall, it is what it is. It has not been a stellar release for Chase, and I'm sure they're seeing it in their numbers. The credits, in my opinion, are complicated. They are not as flexible as the credits that are on the American Express Platinum card, and we'll go into that here in just a second. So what is coming up with the American Express card? So I made a video about this 2 days ago, going into all the details of the new American Express Platinum card that is coming out tomorrow. So I'll put a link to that video down in the description so you can check that out. But just to suffice it to say that there's a major change coming. So like, for example, the highlights on this, I'm not going to go through every single benefit, just some of the key ones that Chase is trying to compete with will be the $400 Resi credit, $100 per quarter. Very interesting that this is exactly $100 more than the Chase Sapphire Reserves dining program that gives you $300 per year, split up into $150 per half of the year. We've got the $600 semi-annual hotel credit. This is kind of the main credit on both the Platinum card and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. They have a version of their hotel credit that we'll talk about here in a second. But this credit for both cards is kind of, I've used the word flagship a lot, but this is their premium. This is their one they want to highlight. This is where you're going to drive a lot of value to getting back some of that annual fee. So the $600 semi-annual hotel credit for American Express, it is $100 more than the Chase Sapphire Reserves version, where you get $500 total, broken up into two $250 chunks. A big reason why, in my opinion, that the Fine Hotels and Resorts and Hotel Collection from American Express, the reason why I think that this credit is far superior to the Edit Collection for Chase is the reason that Fine Hotels and Resorts only requires a one-night minimum in order to trigger that credit, whereas the edit credit, which is a mouthful, I hate that name, the edit requires a two-night minimum stay. So essentially, and I've done a decent chunk of research, a lot of these Fine Hotels and Resorts and the edit property, they're going to be expensive properties. So what you'll find in most major metropolitan areas, when you're not cherry picking some random property in Asia that's going to be super well priced, or like a property in Vegas, like if you're just looking for, just trust me on this one, the average cost is somewhere in the realm of $450 to $500 a night. So if you look at it with the math of getting $300 back when you break up the $600 semi-annual credit for Fine Hotels and Resorts, you get $300 off of one night. That would be, let's say, $450. So you're going to get $300 off of $450, whereas you book the same exact hotel through the edit, you're going to get $250 off of two nights. So that's $250 off of $900. So just simple math right there. You can see why that is much less flexible, and the Fine Hotel and Resorts credit is far superior in my opinion. Now, people are going to jump in as well and try to make the point that why would I want to stay at a hotel for one night only? That is a very valid point, but there are ways to work around that and still take advantage of these credits. Like, for example, I said it in my last video, but I'll say it again for the Fine Hotels and Resorts, this Amex credit. It's January through June and July through December. What you do to maximize this credit, and just this is just how you do it. End of June, you book night one of your stay, whether that be in the second half of that current year in June that you're booking, or the following year you book that first night, and then July 1st hits, you book that second consecutive night for the end of the year or the following year, and then you have a 2-night stay. Both of them are covered by the credit, so you get reimbursed late June for the first one, you get reimbursed July 1st for the second one. You book them a few days. I know it's kind of a pain to manage those, but trust, it's worth it. If you're getting $600 off of a $900 stay, and you're getting really great benefits as well, that's a huge deal. Whereas with the edit, that 2-night stay, I just can't stress it enough. It just kills it compared to it's not even close. What Chase did in response to this, the day before, okay, so again, I'll say it again, we're the day before the release of the brand new American Express Platinum, they come out with this other announcement. So Chase Sapphire Reserve enhances the $500, the edit credit, and adds a one-time $250 hotel credit. So again, we're following the same path. Amex one-upped and made an announcement of their own on the eve of the release of the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Chase is coming back and doing the exact same thing to American Express on the eve of the release of the American Express Platinum card. They are not just announcing that we're going to make changes down the road, but they're announcing some changes. So I know I've been very harsh on the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the credits, particularly the edit, throughout this video, but you have to give credit where credit is due. They are enhancing the edit credit and making it more flexible, even though it's still, even in its new updated iteration, is not as flexible as the American Express Platinum card. And they are adding on a separate $250 hotel credit. So we're going to go through that right now. All right. So currently, The credit, like I mentioned, is $250 from January to June and $250 from July through December. What they are doing starting in 2026, Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business will be two $250 credits, which can be used at any time throughout the year. So you could theoretically, instead of being limited to that January through June and July through December, you could book two separate stays. You could make that booking, both of them in January, day after another. They're going to both be credited there. So that does give more flexibility to that credit, not being restricted as much as to when you can use it. But I just made this whole entire speech about why the most important part of this whole thing is that there's a 2-night minimum. So they did not update the 2-night minimum. So you still have to do the math still applies that you're going to get $250 back on $900. It doesn't matter if you're booking it, yes, you give credit where credit is due. You get more flexibility. That is a positive. That is a good thing for us. It's a good thing that Chase is realizing that their credit is not doing what it needs to do, and they're trying to compete and making it better. Yes, that is valid. I will admit that, but it's still the FHR credit through the Platinum is still far superior, just for the flexibility, the money that you're getting back, and how I explain that you use it there. So another point, and I made this in my last video as well, is that the 4 p.m. checkout, the late checkout for the Fine Hotels and Resorts program through American Express is guaranteed. So 4 p.m. guaranteed checkout. They put it in the terms of the program, whereas with the Sapphire Reserve and the Edit, it is not guaranteed. Late checkout when available. So who knows? Sometimes you get it, sometimes you won't. You can't bank on it. You can't book flights with the assumption that you're going to be able to stay in the hotel until 4 p.m., especially if you got family, you've got kids that are going crazy in the lobby. It really hugely impacts the flexibility of the trip, having that guarantee in the Fine Hotels and Resorts program. Just another reason why the program is absolutely superior in every way, shape, and form to this Edit credit. So I know I'm continuing to crap, but I want to just to note that this is a positive thing, that the Edit credit is getting enhanced. So what else is happening? Moving on to the one-time $250 hotel credit, as if this couldn't get all extremely complicated. We've got the Edit 250 2 times. We've got the hotel credit for 250 that's separate from the Edit, but it's through Chase, but it's only through a certain amount. It's very confusing, but again, this is a positive thing. Credit where credit is due, $250. So what this is you get $250 in statement credits on prepaid Chase travel bookings of 2 nights or more. Again, there's that language that's screws us up there. That 2-night minimum is for this credit as well, with IHG Hotels and Resorts, Montage, Pendry, Omni, Virgin Hotels, Minor Hotels, and Pan Pacific Hotels and Resorts. So IHG is kind of the standout program out of the list there. That they're very prominent, many hotels throughout the country and throughout the world. So there's quite a few of them there. I have heard of Pendry Hotels and Resorts, even though I haven't stayed. They've come up on quite a few different searches that I've done in multiple different cities. So interested to see how that one is used there as well. And then I've also heard of Omni Hotels and Resorts. They've got a nice hotel program. I have stayed at an Omni myself. It was a nice hotel, so interested to see that as well. And then Virgin Hotels, there's I walk by a Virgin Hotel. It's near my office, so it's a nice hotel and decent program there. So some good names there, and these are not restricted to super fancy hotels like the Edit. So like I mentioned previously in the video, $450 to $500 a night, on average. I know you can cherry pick and find little cheap ones that you're maximizing, but if you're just typing Chicago, Illinois, I want to stay with a weekend and stay at an Edit property, guess what? It's going to be pretty darn expensive, about $450. So with this one, you can find an IHG hotel, Holiday Inn Express, do a little weekend getaway, do 2 nights, and maybe the 2 night, it's $200 a night. It's a $400 stay in a decent place, and you get $250 off that. That is much more attractive to me in getting a meaningful percentage off, even with that 2-night minimum restriction on this particular credit. It is much more flexible, in my opinion, just because the type of hotels that you're able to book can skew on the cheaper if you want to just do a quick weekend trip and you're not looking for something extremely fancy. So this is a good thing. This is positive. I'm happy that Chase came out with this response to American Express. Just to summarize here, I think that this is it is kind of funny and petty, like I was saying, to watch this back and forth. But again, I can't stress enough how this is positive for us, the consumer. We're the ones who are signing up for these credit cards. We're the consumers of these. Having competition is always good. We're going to get better results. Case in point, Chase is giving us $250 extra at least for the first year. Who knows if it'll get extended into the future? But if you're a Sapphire Reserve card holder, you just got money added into your pocket, and you got more flexibility with the edit, even though it's not as good I just talked about. But you got flexibility and extra money in your pocket as a direct result of competition from their biggest competitor of American Express. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm totally an idiot, or if you found good value in the edit and you're able to consistently find cheaper than $450, $500. Let me know. If I'm wrong, I will own up to it. I'd love to see edit properties for cheaper. To be able to utilize that credit myself. I did upgrade to the Chase Sapphire Reserve on my wife's account on June 22nd to lock in those benefits at the old $550 annual fee. So I will on October 26th of this year be receiving all of these different credits to have to use. Definitely worth all those credits, even though it is convoluted. There's a ton of credits. It's very complicated, and I'm not a giant fan. Paying $550 for $795 worth of credits and benefits on the new iteration of the card, that is worth it. Locked it in myself, so I do have some skin in this game. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you found value in this video and you enjoyed this conversation and you like this type of content, please like the video and please consider subscribing to the channel. That is a great way to support me. I really, really appreciate that. And if you want to take that support one step further and you are considering signing up for any of the cards that I mentioned today, I've got a ton of referral links down in the description in the pinned comment below. If you choose to sign up for one of those cards through my link, one of my links, I would greatly appreciate that. That's a huge way to support. Just make sure that the offers that you're getting are competitive. They are, do some research, make sure that it's the highest available public offer before you sign up, and make sure you don't have friends or family to give that referral to. And if you choose to apply, I really appreciate that. So with that, thank you for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. Have a good one.